Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for self-defense. Yes, but as with everything else, know how and when to implement what parts we're implementing. So, as I've mentioned in several other clips, we never ever ever want to be taking the fight to the ground. But we need to train it just in case we find ourselves down there. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu was worldwide launched, obviously back in '93 with Hoist Gracie. Obviously, it had been around for a long time before that, but that was when it first came to prominence on a world stage. One of the things that Hoist Gracie became very quickly known for was the guard, to the point where I think it was UFC 2 maybe, where one of the commentators, I think it was Ben Perry, said it's the Gracie Guard. It might have been Jim Brown who called it the Gracie Guard. Either way, the fact that they were calling it the Gracie Guard when it had been around in judo for over a century, and when it had been around in Japanese Jiu-Jitsu for many centuries, but now we're calling it the Gracie Guard because they popularized it because it was a very effective position. The issue I have, of course, is that most Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu clubs don't really emphasize the self-defense aspect, to the point where if you look at Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu means, pulling guard is frowned upon. It's a no-go. You will get a lot of flack if you pull guard in a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu club, because Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is now taught primarily as a sport. It just is. I don't mean to upset anybody, but it just is. It's primarily, we're going to teach for points. We're going to teach to be aggressive and go for a submission. If you're a much smaller, much weaker person, the guard is a perfect position to hold and restrain somebody while you get your senses together, while you compose yourself before trying to do something else. The fact that you would have one of the better moves for self-defense purposes, yet make fun of it and make fun of people who try to train it, yet still call yourself a self-defense club, to me that raises some issues. That's a bit of a problem. So the guard is a perfect move for self-defense. It's absolutely phenomenal. From your Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu syllabus, you should be focusing more on the sweeps from underneath to get out so you can get away. Don't worry so much about, I was going to say Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu takedowns. I'm not saying they have no takedowns, but jumping up and holding on to them and hoping for the best when you fall down isn't an ideal takedown. Again, we shouldn't really be looking at takedowns at all for self-defense purposes. This is self-defense purposes, not match fighting. There's a difference. Check out my other videos for that. From the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu syllabus, it's the groundwork. It's if we find ourselves on the ground, we didn't want to be there, but here we are. So you need to be looking at the guard to hold the person to stop them damaging you while you compose yourself. You then need to be looking at the escapes, getting out from under them and getting away. If that just means getting some space, popping to your feet and running away, or if that means sweeping them, rolling over on top of them, a couple of smashes to the face and then getting away, that's fine, whatever it is. But we need to be aware that Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu as a whole is lacking. Every single style is lacking. That's why it can't just be a single style. It alarms me how many Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu clubs are usually connected to an MMA club, yet for self-defense they think BJJ is all you need. So they acknowledge that in an actual fight, you need striking, you need takedown, defense, you need wrestling, you need all this other stuff to go along with BJJ. But for self-defense purposes, they think BJJ is all you need. This is alarming thinking to me. So there is no one single style that is perfect, that encapsulates everything. I don't know if I really would say that self-defense as itself, in and of itself, is a single style. Because I don't think there's a set kind of syllabus for self-defense that many people acknowledge. It would be nice if there was, but there isn't. So I don't really take self-defense as itself as one style. But of the single styles, there isn't one that encapsulates everything. Even if you take MMA as a style, it still misses on the how to deal with numbers, how to deal with the adrenaline dump, the psychology of a fight, how to deal with body language, how to read somebody to know if they're about to attack you, how to deal with weapons, all this other cool stuff, how to deal with the law, how to deal with, is your clothing allowing you to do some of these techniques? So there's no one single style that has all of it that you need. The issue is the bits from Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu that work for self-defense, the BJJ community itself tends to poo-poo, which is a bit of a thing for me. I don't like that. So from BJJ, the guard is a brilliant position. Work on your sweeps and your escapes from getting away. don't worry so much about trying to go for arm bars, leg locks, and chokes for self-defense purposes. Worry more about escaping and getting away. I'm sure no one will have anything to say about this because the BJJ community, as we all know, very, very strong. They're very confident, secure in themselves. They never overreact. They're very open to criticism. Any comments, let me know.